You can tell it's a bear market because I've got no one on my stream at the moment. I guess people are waiting for the bullish market, like bullishness or something. All right. See, now everything's looking scarier because we're selling off, huh? Okay, I think I'm gonna start. There's like one or two people here. Sorry. Okay. Just check one thing. Okay. There's no top, is there? Yeah. All right. So actually, interestingly enough, yesterday I was looking at this, wasn't I? And it wasn't easy to short. I tried, and I wasn't able to short successfully. I tried too early, and then I was asleep when it actually dropped. So it wasn't terribly difficult to short, to be honest with you, because it never took out the high after the high was taken at 7 p.m. Yeah. So any invalidation above the pivot high that was put in would have been an easy trade in that sense. So I didn't do that because I don't really like wide invalidations, and I was asleep anyway. But I think this is what we're looking at the moment. And obviously I was talking about the speculative nature of this point C, and that's why, because it could have been, you know, it could have been there, couldn't it? It could have been there, and instead it was much higher up. And then also we have to see how far it wants to go lower down. Let me have a look at these patterns and let me see if how they correspond to what's being formed at the moment. So effectively the C is higher than the A, so it can either be a shark or a cipher. And I think I wrote butterfly, but it's actually a shark or a cipher. It's an M, so it's going to be bullish in the sense that at point D there should be a bullish reaction. And then the question now is going to, based on these kind of simple diagrams, the question here will be, will it be something like that, or will it be something like that? And obviously I'm thinking lower. I'm thinking like this. I'm thinking more of a shark. The only thing I'm a bit cautious of is it's going to be really bearish if we end up down here with such a fast down move. I don't know how likely people are going to be to just buy that, catch that falling knife. So potentially if we do hit about 656 or whatever, it may go lower, and there's no guarantee that the price is going to react arbitrarily. Okay. At the moment we're getting a little bit of a reaction from this pivot here, this B, And even though this is on the cards on the table, there's no reason why the price can't find support here. But it's going to take a little bit more time. It's not going to be so easy, just because the drop's been quite fast and hard, and also it's been coming down in levels. So you see how it's coming down in SR flips. So naturally it's going to have to do exactly the same thing to get back up. So there's a little bit of a gap here, but otherwise it's the gaps are being filled as the price drops. Right. So let me just hide my stuff. I'm gonna hide everything. I'm probably going to clean my charts up today as well. Just update this and see, look, we got a rejection from the value area low. And that was it really. Yesterday I was talking about we need to get back in. Otherwise there's no strength there. And so there was one attempt and a rejection. See that? And so all the price was doing was trying to go back up to back test the value area low as resistance. And there was no real longs yesterday at all, except scalps. See that? No volume profile changes, so we're clearly underneath the value area. That's bearish. Having a little bit of a sell-off. We've come into liquidity here at this pivot here, getting a reaction, but that's not really bullish, just because it's gone so far down. So it's cleared so much liquidity on the way down, all the way down to almost this daily level here. And even though that's a swing failure, it's not a great reaction at the moment. Right, so let me just have a look at some other things here and clean my charts up and bring all this back on and see what it was. What was I looking at yesterday? Yeah, exactly. So that was yesterday's price action. It was a head and shoulders pattern. We're coming back into the neckline for a test, and there was a rejection, and then there was no recovery. So that was what you would have wanted to see, and it didn't happen. I'm going to have to reevaluate this, so I'll just delete it. I'll keep that. What's that one? Yeah, and this yellow trend line, that was the big trend line that was lost, and the price came back down to try and find support, and then it failed basically. You've got this local value area here. Let me have a look at it. I mean, technically we're still in the range. If you see how the prices come into the value area low, swing failure, and we're back at the range. So I wouldn't say that this is bullish, holding here at the value area low of this local range. I would just say that the price has found some kind of arbitrary support with a liquidity grab from this pivot, and it's kind of come to an area where there's less selling and more buying. Now, naturally what you would want to see is a sign of strength after a sign of weakness, and here you can see that these fib levels are reacting quite well, and at the moment we're underneath the 886 of this, and we've actually made a lower low. So in this context, honestly, I think in this context, it'd be, you'd look for some kind of reversal pattern here, or you'd be looking for like some kind of reclaim there for a reversal. But it's more likely than not that the price is going to kind of try and reverse here, or head for low, or try and flag here, or consolidate here for lower. That's more likely than not. Consolidation above support in a down move is bearish. So if we get like a consolidation range here, it could look bullish. It could look like this, or it could look better. It could look whatever really. But effectively, you would come to the value area low of this local range. We've broken down from this downtrend, and probably we're heading for the lows here. Probably that's probably the target of this move, and it's difficult to short here, that you wouldn't do it. But effectively, what will happen is you'll find some kind of potentially some kind of consolidation, or if we get a bounce is possible too. It will be kind of like a bearish bounce, and so effectively, if we get a bounce, it will just be to go and back test something. Yeah, so we haven't actually back tested the golden pocket. So if we do get some kind of bullish price action to back test the golden pocket, you may see something like that. It might look bullish, but actually it's just going to clear some liquidity, punish late shorts, and back test some lost levels before it continues. And so it may form, you may form, you know, more of a kind of something like that, something wider and more consolidation. So that's possible, and I will obviously it's always possible to just keep on going down. I think a recovery here is, again, it's unlikely, but let me just have a look at the volume. It's an increase in volume here, and we've got maybe look at the order flow as well. Let's see if refresh that. Came into this buying tail, got a nice buy up. So these tails are working, they're reacting to the price. Let's have a look at this drop, huh? On the order flow. Let's see what's going on. There's some liquidation bubbles, but they're not very big. So I don't know if many people were liquidated that much. Like, you're getting small liquidation bubbles. So people are obviously trying to cover their shorts, and they're getting stopped out. And then you have this liquidation bubble here, but there's not many liquidations here. Okay. And I mean, is the OI going up as the price is going down? I can't really tell. Yeah, it is a little bit. See, so the price is going down, the OI is going up. So clearly, what just happened here? Clearly, oh my god, I lost my screen. Right, never mind. Anyway, just close my screen by accident. So clearly, there are some shorts in this down move, and that's kind of what you want to see for future reversal. But obviously, it just means that the down move is relatively healthy, and it's not just longs closing, it's also people shorting as well. So all right, so all right, so let's get rid of this now and just have a look at this stuff. What is that? So yeah, that was this pattern that I was looking at. So there, and then Have a look at the timings on that. So you see here to here, it almost got the 1-to-1 on the C. Almost. It missed it by a couple of hours or 3 hours. Almost hit it on point. You see here this trend-based fib. As soon as the price lost the 618, it just lost support basically, and it just drop. So let me just think about this one here. Would you do it to there? Or would you do it to the actual pivot? Pivot. I think Thursday early morning. So what day is it today? It's what the day is. My clock doesn't come up. Today is Wednesday, yeah, Wednesday. So a 1 to 2 here would be Thursday at about 5 a.m. and effectively that would be just, you know, continuous down to there. I think that would be my target, a 1 to 2. Obviously it could go further, but probably there. I think for something to complete like this, and then I think if it can't, I think you want it to take out that pivot low. That would make sense. And then you have a definite swing failure here, like that. And then what else do you have? You have do a fib extension here. Okay. So the 618 would bring us to here of this fib extension. So just extending from there down to there. That's the 1.618. So I think I'm thinking 1.618 on time Thursday at about early hours, 5-6 a.m. And what you'd really want to see after some kind of swing failure, and it could wick down further, so no one really knows how the price is going to react, but you want a swing failure. So it'll be very difficult if you get a big wick to swing failure because you have too wider invalidation. But if it just comes into this area here, then what you want is you want a bullish reaction, and so you want to see increasing volume coming into the lows with shorts getting trapped at the lows, and then you want to see bulls squeeze the shorts for a reaction, and then you want to see the bulls re-enter or continue holding the price lower. This pivot, once you take it, you want to reclaim it, and then you want to hold it. So that pivot's going to be really important. If and when the price comes and takes it, you want to reclaim it, and then you want to flip it back into support. And once you have that, you basically got some kind of completed harmonic, and then you'd be looking for a 50% target from this peak to wherever the low is put in. So who knows where the low is? Let's say it's put in on this 1.618, then you'd be looking for a 50% retrace as your primary target from the low all the way up to somewhere there. and that would be effectively, that's the trade idea. It'd be a swing failure and a completion of a harmonic or a failed auction or something, and right back up to the 50% mark. But I think in this context, if you do get like a really bullish reaction, then potentially that could be the low, because that's also going to be a monthly swing failure, and then you'll be looking to see if the bulls want to take the price right back up to the top of the month. It's kind of what I'm imagining now, but obviously we're just finding a little bit of support here, and so if for some reason there's a bottoming pattern forms here, I find it unlikely, but let's just say it can, then obviously, you know, you could always do that too. The problem with this context is you've broken this neckline here, and whatever happens, it's going to be difficult to go up in the short term. So it's just something to bear in mind. So this is kind of what I'm thinking right now, and that will be on time on Thursday in the early hours. And if not, then you'll be looking slightly later. You'll be looking like Friday morning, or the further it goes, the more unlikely it is, because then the harmonic doesn't look right. So in my mind, a 1 to 2 would be perfect in the context of this. So I'm going to set an alert on this swing failure, and that will be potentially a swing trade if we get the right reaction off these lows. All right, so that's kind of what I'm on. I was on it yesterday, I was on it the day before, and finally we're seeing a sell-off, so that's why I'm really on it now. So it's a bullish shark. That's what it is. All right, keep that on the side. AW. So this is an interesting one. Obviously, if we take out this low here, then all this, whatever I was doing yesterday, becomes invalidated. Even though there is potential for an impulse and a 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, 5, whatever. This is now basically invalid, I would say, personally. Just simply because that wouldn't be the 3, because then that would have to be the 3, then that would have to be the 5. I mean, technically it's not, because that could be possible. And then if that is possible, 1, 2, 3, 5, and then you have to just not take out this low. Where did the impulse begin? Yeah, the impulse began here at the absolute low. So in this situation, if you don't take out the low, that could be your wave 1, your wave 2. I find it very odd, but I'm not enthusiastic about that. I'd rather just take the low. I think it'd be really odd to go all the way down there and not take out the low. And so what you get with these kind of Elliott moves is you get false starts. So that's something. So you see here, we've come all the way down to the golden pocket. Lost, haven't really held it as support a little bit, but then kind of back into it. We came to the other side. It's looking quite bearish. The reaction isn't strong enough, and the fact that the price has been able to go through these levels quite easily tells you that there isn't really much liquidity here, or there aren't many orders here to hold downward price pressure. So I do think this is a false start, and I do think we're going to take out the low. I really think that. And so I'm not going to really continue with this idea, but the correction could be correct, even though this 5 waves is not valid, or might not be valid. So let me just count those and see if I can find something interesting here. Just going to count these ABCs now and see if there's something here. So that was almost perfect, wasn't it? Look. Quite symmetrical as well, and probably it extended correctly too. It went all the way down to the 1.272, and then it kind of held this 1-to-1 for a bit, and then it lost it. So all the way down to the 1-to-2. Got quite a bearish WX, quite a bearish X, up, down, across, down to the ABC. So we are looking for a kind of like this, something like this right now. Yeah, that's kind of that's what I've got in my mind at the moment, but time wise it was going to be much later depending on how this corrects now. ABC, so we're in a little bit of a C now. Where's my shark? It's not going to work, is it? See, so this is not going to work down to here by tomorrow. Based on this corrective move downwards. Maybe Friday now. It would look quite bullisher if we were holding the golden pocket like this. So I'm kind of literally just making this up. So yeah, something like that would work for me. Big chop here for another move down to kind of complete this. I think it would be nice if it would have been nice to complete this by here by Thursday 5 a.m. whatever, but just looking at how the price action is going down now, it's been quite steep, and so potentially if we just go sideways here, then it could take another leg down to the 618 to hit this target and have some kind of corrective move here. If you take out this pivot, this first impulse was a false start. If you don't, if you hold a higher low, then this next one could be a big one, but we have to see what happens. And so it's quite speculative right now, but you never know. Never know. Okay. Oh, I put it updated as well. Use that. Okay, made that. So we have that. Okay, we put those two and then put that there. Get rid of these now. Is that one? That's interesting. Look, so we are okay. So this is actually quite an interesting area now, and I'm just discovering this. You've got this kind of downward trend line, and we're coming in to back test it with a swing failure. That's actually quite a good place for the price to find a little bit of support. How does it look like this? So where is that point? Underneath, it's underneath. So this is the thing. If we do get some kind of, if we lose that line, it will look very bearish. And could we kind of fake out underneath this trend line, clear the liquidity here, and get back above it for a reversal? And so that's kind of what I'm thinking right now. I don't think this is bullish at all. Like, even though we've had a little bit of reaction here, the problem here is that you've taken out this low, really. So even if it would have held that higher low and just come back into this trend line somewhere there, then that would be okay. It would be like a breakout, a back test without putting in a new low, and then we could have seen potentially higher prices. Coming back down to test this trend line and taking out this low isn't bullish at all. Okay, so it just tells you there's not enough liquidity here to hold higher prices, and there's just not enough demand. And so get a reaction. Mainly the reason why you're going to get a reaction is because people who are short will take profit, and so they'll take profit at market and pull the price up, but it's not bullish. Okay, so that's an interesting trend line. I'll keep that, put it in my shark. And then what are these ones? Rubbish. Nothing. That'd be nice. Okay. Nothing much. Nothing going on here. What was that, Gartley? Okay. That Gartley played out well, didn't it? Amazing trade. How far it went. From the point C, went up 6%. So these harmonics can be quite nice. So it's not bad to pay attention. We'll get rid of it now. Let's have a look at that one. I've already got that. It's quite a big level here that we've lost. That was my correction from up there. So we are trying to do something here, but it's hard to know exactly what. So and so this is the other pattern that I'm considering. So you've got on the lower time frame, I've got this kind of bullish shark here, like that. But actually, potentially on a higher time frame, we also got another pattern forming, which is this, and that is also a bullish pattern. It's this would be a bat, and so effectively all you want to do is just take out this pivot B and then go up. Okay, I've got it to this midpoint here. It's lower than these ones. Usually you take it to the higher one. I don't know why I did that, so let me just kind of mark these out roughly. Okay, I think it's because it landed on the 618 there. That's why I marked it. Okay, and then from the A to the B to the C. It's a hard one because it would be today. That would be correct. That would be 1.618. But if it's not, then maybe the 2, which would be Friday. That kind of... Which Friday though? Not this Friday. The week Friday. So actually it doesn't really work. It's too far, isn't it? Can you imagine going down here until next week Friday? It's not realistic. So according to this, it's Thursday. Unless this point here is wrong. And for some reason, it's this. It'll be this Saturday. It'll be this weekend. Based on that pivot, which is the correct one, the higher one. So thereabouts. So Friday, Saturday, that's what I'm thinking, all the way down to here. And let's see if that lines up with this, then that would be quite nice, wouldn't it, if they both lined up. Where have I got that? That's kind of like Friday, Saturday as well. So that's kind of where I'm imagining the price to settle if we can take out this low. And so naturally people are looking at the price now and they're thinking, oh my god, this is going down. But we may or may not, we may see what I was suggesting before, some kind of messing about here for a while before it price goes down. Good morning, Cactus, welcome. So 56k. I think it's going to overshoot. Whatever happens, it's going to overshoot. So it's kind of hard to put a number on the exact low, because it just depends on how aggressive people get at selling at the lows, which is usually a lot. Yeah, it's a tricky one, huh? So I was looking at this yesterday and look, it's come down, and they're the really profitable trades, but it's really hard to catch the C. And so yesterday actually it was very difficult to catch a C. In hindsight, it's easy, but during execution, you're always thinking to yourself, could this just do that? You know, you're always thinking that. So even though harmonically it was looking to reverse, execution is always difficult. But it's moved down quite a lot, hasn't it? So that's quite interesting to see how far it's moved. I don't know if people expected that, but you only it's always clear after the fact, is you know. Anyway, so that's interesting. I think potentially somewhere by the end of the week, Friday, Saturday, I'm looking to take this pivot at the very least. So that's pivots at 58. and really the entry is some kind of swing failure and a back test to confirm that this is now back into support. And so I think anything lower than that is speculative. It's just people catching a falling knife, and they can, if they want, they could get good prices, especially if this plays out. But the safe way of attacking this, the safe way would be just to wait for a swing failure, wait for the price to come back above the swing failure, wait for the price to find support, and then that would probably be the safest way to enter, because you're back above a previous level and you are expecting the price to somehow bottom out. So a quick wick down to 56. Yeah, I didn't see why not. I think based on this extension that I've done, so let me just kind of, let me just get rid of these so it's a bit clearer and get rid of the time. Okay. So I think I'd like to see it kind of get stuck here for a while and just correct here for a while. And that kind of corresponds with this count that I've got. If we can kind of do nothing, just kind of consolidate above support. And I'm not sure where this is gonna, this point is gonna land. So we have to see where that point lands. And then a 618 extension. This is quite speculative too, but it's coming to the roughly to the same area here. That's a 1.618 of this extension. So from here to here, that's the 1.618. That's 57631. So that's an extension. I think that's a good place for the price to react. It's just an extended fib extension. There's nothing there, it's just and so if you're thinking 56, which would be lower, then you're looking down here at this 1 to 2, which is 56263. So there's a little bit of a gap in the distance. So these two numbers I think are good numbers to have on your mind, just based on this pattern here that's forming and the extension from that move down to here. Yeah, so you got those numbers, huh? 57631 and 56263. And then maybe the Friday, Saturday, maybe. That's kind of what I'm thinking at the moment, unless something changes. And then obviously I've got that higher time frame pattern. These ones are a little less specific, because they're so, again, I'm thinking based on fib time. I'm thinking basically Friday, Saturday. And if you're here, and the thing about this pattern is it can come all the way down to here, you know, like it's all correct wherever it lands. It's all correct. It just, that wouldn't be correct. But once you clear the B, doesn't really matter, does it? Because if you stop here, you're in a bat. If you go down here, you're in a butterfly. So I'm thinking somewhere here, but who knows? And then the other thing to bear in mind is if you do come underneath here, again, you're looking for the reclaim for a safe entry going upwards. If it's much further down, then somehow we're in some kind of craziness, some kind of mad sell-off, then again you'd still be looking to long, but in this circumstance you'd be looking to take the liquidity from these lows. And so again, it would be the same thing, wouldn't it? Just come swing failure, back test the lows of support, and then that short entry. And both of these harmonics, this harmonic and the other one that I've got, they're both bullish, so you're expecting a reaction wherever the pivot's put in. Let's just say for the sake of argument it's here, then it would just be a simple fib pull and trade it back up to 50% effectively. So wherever that pivot's put in, with a bullish reaction, you're expecting the price to come up to 50%. And if we do come up above this B, then the reality is this is probably going to rally all the way to the all-time high, probably. That's kind of what you're thinking. And that could take us to a bearish harmonic on the higher time frame, which would be a W. So right now it's playing out, isn't it? But effectively that's what's playing out, isn't it? Some kind of higher time frame bearish harmonic. That would be nice, wouldn't it, if we have a reaction here for a bullish harmonic, and then go all the way up to the all-time high, reaction there for a bearish harmonic. And what happens next? Probably that. Probably that. You get that. I think if we go up to the all-time high again, even if we have a swing failure, I don't expect a crazy sell-off, just because we've been in this range for too long, and there's too much. Yeah, I think a lot of people will be hoping for, after you take the all-time high, you get a rejection. People will be looking for much lower. They'll be looking for this, won't they? I think that's very possible, but it's also very unlikely. That's the thing. It's possible, but unlikely. It would look like it's possible though. That's the problem. So you couldn't ignore it, but we just have to see how the price behaves, and we have to see what kind of reaction you get. Let me just have a look at these other things. What was that correction? All right. Yeah, so what can I say? It's pretty miserable price action. If no one's in that drop, then there's no real trade to be had right now. The price is trying to find support, but at the moment it's getting minimal. It's finding minimal support, and so there isn't much liquidity here. There's not much buy volume, buying limit orders here, and so naturally what you want to see, and this is really what I've always wanted to see ever since this bull market begun, which I haven't yet, is I want to see some kind of volume, like real volume, on this kind of daily time frame. When you look at the previous bull market, look all that volume, look at all that, and you see how the price went up and the volume ascended. And when I'm looking at the volume now in this market, look how poor it is. It's quite poor, and we've gone up on relatively low volume. And now what we want to see is we want to see the price get sold off with volume and held up with volume. Yeah, so whatever happens, I think we need to see really good volume. And just to answer your question, Cactus, I think probably the next time we go down, it could probably go down to here. Probably. That's what I'm thinking, actually. Just looking at it. Quite lower. 54,510. Just here where the price, you got quite a high volume candle here. That's the base of it. So that's the base of it there. Maybe this next candle. It'd be quite low. It'd be lower than that 56,263. It'd be here at 54. I think 54 is a strong area. I think a lot of people will be looking at this channel as well. So I think a lot of people will be looking at that. Pepe. Well, you can buy Pepe when Bitcoin bottoms out. So that's the answer to your question, right, Pepe? Let's see if we can get there. Look at that reaction on the midpoint here. Amazing. That. So yeah, so let's go to the bottom of the channel. Let's take out this pivot. Let's find support here. And let's then see what happens. All right. That's kind of where we're at today. All right. And it's extremely difficult to short here, so I wouldn't do it. But if people are looking to short or long, then maybe a good idea would be to try and count the waves. That's what I try and do, just to see which section we're in. And here it looks like we've hit this B point here, so we're in this kind of up section, so it's better to, in this context, it's better to long. Yeah, so when you've put in a low pivot B here, then you're looking to go to a C. Don't know how far the C will go, but it's better to long. Once you've put in a pivot there, then you're looking to go down, and then it's better to short. And so you just have to, it's almost like you have to follow the waves, and then whichever direction the wave is going, it's better to do that action until you reach the pivot point in that wave. That kind of helps you to avoid, like here, you wouldn't really short, would you? Because not only are we in the lows, look, we've put in this pivot B, and we're looking for a C now, which is an up, which is like up or horizontal or sideways. That's kind of what you're looking to do. And so it takes a little bit of practice, but it helps. It can help to avoid doing the wrong action at the wrong time. What's interesting is that Slerf was looking quite strong yesterday, and then at the crux, it just dumped like there was no tomorrow. And so, interestingly enough, I was in longs, and I closed them at midnight. I just closed them at market because they were in profit, and I was like, I don't really like to hold positions which are long in the highs after a daily close if it's a green candle, and then it just dumped. So it was a good decision to close my longs, and it was potentially a bad decision not to take the short then, because I was shorting earlier on while I had some longs open, and they just weren't, my short got invalidated. I had a really nice short when the price dropped here, and then it just came back up and stopped me out. And the Slerf can do that. Slerf does that a lot. It comes, if you're in a little bit early, it'll come up to destroy you, and then it will still head in your direction. So it's just something to note. So this is what I was talking about Slerf a week ago. Cactus Cake is saying that channel looks good, maybe even for, yeah, I think 54k, because I think if you get a sell-off, it's gonna be more more aggressive than you think. Yeah. So it's hard to catch a falling knife, but if you are, you really want to catch it lower. I'll have a look at it again for you. So initially with this, I think everyone, if they remember, I was looking at a harmonic just like this, right? So I was looking at a bat, and this was a week ago or so. When was it? Yeah, just over a week ago. And effectively what we've had is a bullish reaction, and we've come all the way up to this weekly level, and based on fibs, we came up to the 236, we came above it, we came underneath it, we came above it, we held it for a teeny second or two, and then we've fallen underneath it. So that's a rejection. That's like a failed auction above the 236. Yeah, that's not strong, that's really weak. We've basically, the price has found resistance at the first fib level. So obviously this is not a strong, this wasn't a strong bullish move. It was quite a weak one. It couldn't even get up to the 50% mark, which would have been my desired target. And when I was doing this harmonic, I did say that even though this is a bullish harmonic, the context of this harmonic is incorrect. it's in the lows. Oh, lows, what was it? The momentum, sorry. Yeah, it is in the lows in the context of this price action, this chart. You can see it's at the low of the range and the momentum is to the downside. So when you have bullish harmonics, you want the momentum to be going up. You don't want the momentum to be coming down, okay? And so here you can see why was the price depressed. So it's really important to understand why. Yeah, so you have a bullish harmonic, but why did it underperform? Yeah, because of the momentum, because of the situation of the market. Yeah, so you see the momentum is trending down, and we've had a really strong a sell-off, and so we've had a really limp, weak reaction. This is very weak. So in effect, what you're seeing is a bearish flag, which is what I talked about yesterday. I said it was flagging, and now we're seeing the confirmation, which is continuation. We're seeing continued selling. We've lost this pivot. We failed to make a higher high. You see, we failed to make a higher high. We've lost this pivot. Really bearish. Yeah, really bearish. And so naturally, let me tell you what's going on. People are making money on Slerf just by trading the moves, because it does move quite a lot, and with small volume it can move quite a lot, and it does move a lot as well. And so in all of this price action, what was happening, people were buying and selling, and they were just taking profit, not really worried about the price action, whether it was going to go up or down. In this context, it was probably more beneficial to long, but it's hard to long because everyone is always worried about this, the final drop. Yeah, so it's hard to long, and it's also hard to short. The reason why it's hard to short is because you keep on putting higher highs, and so where do you put your invalidation? So when you're getting these kind of bearish corrections, it's actually better to long because the price trends up, but you have to take profit. You're not looking for a big move, otherwise you're not going to take profit, and you might even get invalidated if you have a tight stop. And now what we're seeing is we're getting the kind of the breakout of the flag. See that the flag is broken out. Okay, and so now what I was saying is, when I first drew this harmonic, I said it's possible that you'll start off with this kind of bullish harmonic and you'll end up with another harmonic, and instead of, you start off with a bat and then you end up with some kind of butterfly. And that's actually what I'm thinking now. And it's the same thing, even though it's a bullish harmonic, I'm still thinking the momentum is down. I'm not looking for that kind of crazy reaction that some people might think. And so even if Bitcoin does start to find support and start to go up, we're creating a lot of bearish liquidity here, trapped liquidity, and it's going to make it, if we come down here, it's going to make it difficult, not so easy to go up. So we might get the same kind of behavior where the price should really go up to the 50%, but we may actually just kind of it may go down and then kind of really do the same. You know, it may be really weak price action. We don't know, but it's looking quite weak. There's a few indications of the weakness as well. I can see the volume is shit, literally shit. Yeah, when you compare it to the initial volume or the volume that was here, I can see the volume is really poor. So you can tell there's no interest really, and it's low volume moves, very illiquid, and you're getting small amounts of volume push the price quite big distances. It's not truly reflective of the value, and so right now it's just poor volume, isn't it? It's just not impressive at all. So this is kind of what I'm thinking of, this kind of this next harmonic. Let me just get rid of all this shit. I'm not even looking at Elliott waves or anything like that. Yeah, this is it. Look, see that? So we were a bit past the time. So here, look, I've marked it off here and here, haven't I? I don't know. I don't know if we're going to get there by next week, or I have to see what happens. Yeah. And also, the further it goes, the more unattractive it looks. So in my mind, that would have been perfect, and that didn't happen. And so now we're moving on to the next pivot, which is actually next Friday. Okay. Now, whether we go down now and then just do that, you know, who knows? No one knows how this is going to play out. I've got a target of 116.56 here. We would have to take out this pivot to make a new low, have a little sell-off to come down into my area of interest. And naturally, the safest entry again is always the same. You fall underneath that pivot, you come right back above, you find support, and then you go up. That's kind of what you're looking for. You're looking for a swing failure or a failed auction, and you're looking for the price to get back above that last pivot and then find support on that same pivot. Once you see that, you have an invalidation, and you know that the price is reclaiming a lost level, which is a sign of strength. So you're not necessarily looking for lower, you're looking for the price to reverse. Okay, and that's kind of what I'm looking for as confirmation, but I may speculatively try and catch the price at a key level if I see some kind of reaction. Okay, speculatively. And that's really it. I mean, it's the whole of crypto is looking miserable right now, apart from the whole lot. They all are. So, and I think there's nothing really to be done, actually. I mean, it's hard to accumulate Slerf on spot, because if we do go down that far, it's another 28% decrease in value. It's hard to pick up Slerf. Like, anyone who's accumulating Slerf from spot now is feeling wrecked. No, it's feeling a little bit wrecked, potentially. Let me just update the volume here as well quickly, and changes. No real changes. Again, there's nothing really bullish about this. There's a little high volume node here. Look, the price just ignored it, so I'm just going to get rid of it as well, because it looks like it isn't really in play. We're coming back into the buy bit value area low again. That's bearish. And also the fact that we haven't, in this move up, we haven't actually been able to get to this high volume node higher up. That's bearish too. You would have expected at least to go up, but we haven't been able to do that. So effectively the level was front run, because that's where the price tries to get to clear trap liquidity, get back up to this kind of order block here. And look, yes, it's just literally failed to do that, literally. So there's just too much selling and there's not enough buying. That's what that's telling us now. And so I wouldn't be in a rush to buy this token on spot or anything at the moment. And actually here, looking at the price action, you'll probably be looking to short on pullbacks, probably. And as long as Bitcoin is starting to look weak, then it's probably better to just short this, just keep on shorting this. That's what I'll be looking to do. So I'll be looking at the price action, I'll be looking at the volume area. If I see the price come up to a level of resistance and find resistance, look, we're underneath the point of control here of this local range now. Yesterday it closed, 4-hour close back into the volume area, and look, immediate sell-off. See that? So it wasn't difficult to short, because once you lost this range and you fell back into the volume area, it just sold, and then it just sold off. Yeah, so we've had 12 hours of selling. Yeah, just non-stop sell, and we're underneath the point of control now, before the point of control held as support. Yeah, and so naturally my next thing that I'm looking for here is if we can get a back test. We get a successful back test, that will be, in my mind, the next place to try and short, to take it down to the low here. Otherwise you just have to just be patient and wait for longs. That's basically it with Slerf. There's literally no rush to buy. I can't see any rush to buy. Look, we've even lost this pivot, we haven't been able to come above it. It's forming bearish candle formation structure. You can see that we had a high volume sell in the last hour, and then this current hour you see how the price is just in the wick of that selling. So it's very bearish underneath this pivot. It's really bearish right now, and there's nothing to be said. It's just really bearish. Okay, so, and one thing about Slerf is when you're seeing price action like this, you're feeling bullish, aren't you? You're feeling quite bullish because you're making higher highs and higher lows. This is what you want to see. The context is bearish because we had a massive down move and now we're forming a flag, but also it just tells you that it's quite liquid as well. Like you see, you have this big green candle here. How much volume is in that? It's like, oh, it's actually quite a lot. So it's 10 million volume in that candle. Took the price 7%, 10 million. So 10 million in this context is $2.5 million. What's that? $2.5 million. If you look at that candle, actually, it's quite interesting just looking at candles, because you see it's the high volume 1 hour candle here. If I was to just take it from the top, yeah, that single high volume candle in this whole range, you see that's the one candle that stands out, isn't it? Okay, you see how it actually, the price forms support and resistance around that candle. You see here, little failed auction, and then finally look, you see the price came up into the top of that candle for a perfect reaction and a sell-off. And so you've got this increase in volume. There's a failure of continuation up here. Now the price is coming back. Where does it come back? To test the bottom of that candle, basically. So here I can also draw another line here. Now you can see here it kind of lost it, but see as it came back in, look how it finds support here. See that? Comes back in, finds support, goes all the way. Where does it go? Right to the top of the same candle. Resistance, and now we've lost it here. And actually it's quite interesting because it comes in to find a little bit of support, loses it, and so that single one high volume 1 hour candle literally controlled the price that followed. Yeah, so they're very strong on those high volume candles on every time scale, on every fractal. When you see those single candles with high volume, then usually what happens is the price, they push the price around, or they control the price that follows. And so you can use that idea on every time frame actually. So there's nothing recent, so I can't really, there's no high volume candles here. That was probably the biggest one on the daily time frame. Yeah, it's just kind of here you see it comes in to the and gets a reaction, and then at the top here, let's have a look. I like to do the bodies, yeah, just come and see it comes up all the way to the top here, finds resistance, and then you have a little pump and dump. Comes all the way back down to here, and now we're back underneath it. So actually it's bearish. It's really bearish. I don't really have anything more to say about Slerf. I don't know if there's any questions. Cactus wants me to have a look at that channel again, so let's have a look. So that's a higher time frame. Effectively, you're taking the two pivot highs, one there and one there, to that pivot low there. That's it really. And you can see it's quite good because you have really nice daily, it's a daily time frame. You have really nice reaction there, a little bit of reaction here, and here. So it's quite a nice channel, isn't it? You've got the key pivots are in play here, and so why not find support on the bottom of the channel? Like, it's already done it, huh? Look, bounce, bounce, let's bounce. And actually that's quite symmetrical, isn't it? So maybe we're going to get that kind of symmetry here. Let me do it. It's weirder because to be perfectly symmetry, we're going to be just 26th of July. What the hell? That's going to hurt everyone, isn't it? We have a bearish July. So, I mean, let me just put time on this as well. There it is. 1-to-1 would be 25th of July. That would be a perfect symmetrical ABCD. Doesn't have to go down here. You could do this. Yeah, just to come, just to hit it on time. Just like we did here. And so we could naturally be in that kind of situation where we do something similar. Just something like that. So really bearish, 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 and then you have that kind of reaction. That, I mean, I don't know if this is going to happen. Honestly, this looks really. It'd be very. It's quite far. We don't have much distance to go. That's my point. So we're here on the 3rd of July. This would put us at the 25th of July, and in that period, you only have to drop 8%. And after we have such a bearish candle today, I think it's, if we start seeing selling, we'd get down to the bottom within 2 days. Yeah, I don't necessarily think this is going to extend like that. So that's why I'm a bit hesitant. So that would be the first pivot. That would be this Sunday. Okay. That's the 618. That doesn't look right. But it's a pivot. It's a pivot on time. It would work harmonically. It would work. That would be Sunday. And then that. That's what I'm imagining. All right. So if it's Sunday, then it's going to be somewhere 55k. So that's the correct area after you lose that pivot. Right. Keep an eye on this. And that is a higher time frame bull flag, isn't it? Let's just say hypothetically we do that. That's kind of what you'd want to see, wouldn't it? A lower high here, come back to the midpoint for an explosive move. That's kind of what I'm imagining at the moment if we're to go up. Otherwise, if we want to, I think it'd be quite bearish to go up and come down and take the highs to reject. I don't like that, actually. I was just thinking about it now. I don't like it. That's like a topping. That's like a topping pattern, isn't it? One final push to clear the liquidity. So actually, to go up, I don't necessarily want us to take A here. I'd want us to somehow fail to come to the midpoint to go up like that. Or if we do go up and take liquidity higher up, then honestly, I'd probably be thinking don't know, it looks really weird, so I couldn't tell. It doesn't look right. None of that looks right. All right, so that channel's the one that we're going to keep an eye on for the time being, to see if we see some kind of reaction. And I do think that kind of intersection here is a good place, that 54.5. All right, that one is Bitcoin. Slerf. So basically what's happening with TRVL is that we're getting continuous updates. Yeah, look, what's going on here? Well, it's trying to get back into the golden pocket. It's trying to get over the golden pocket. And I think because of Bitcoin, again, you're getting the same problem, isn't it? You're going to get bearish price action. So I think that's generally the problem with crypto, isn't it? When Bitcoin moves badly, crypto dumps. I think the reason why is just because of the lack of utility on TRVL at the moment. Fret not, because Dtravel have been posting stuff, and what they have been saying is quite good. Look, this guy writes it, so Ismail. An awesome incentive program. Oh, here it is. In the coming weeks, we will begin to roll out Dtravel rewards, an incentive program focused on encouraging community members to contribute. Those who receive TRVL for contributing to the Dtravel rewards program will be whitelisted to participate in upcoming staking programs. So we have a lot of this going on. Like, there's a lot of kind of news, rumors about utility, staking, rewards, initiatives. You've got all of those key phrases thrown in. And when you have a look at the Traveler app, you can see, where was it? You can see here you've got a staking function, says coming soon. So I think that's one of the biggest weaknesses with TRVL right now, because we're still in innovation. You know, Dtravel's an innovation, and we're trying to do something very, very unique and very new. And what you're feeling right now is the market kind of reacting to Bitcoin, or kind of being shook up by Bitcoin a little bit, and Bitcoin not going up, going down has a depressing effect on the market. But honestly, it just gives people an opportunity to accumulate at lower prices. And it's hard because the lower you go, the more it drops, the more the percentage decrease. See, just to go down here from the current price to the 786, it's a 16% decrease in value. So it's relatively small distance, but it equates to quite a large percentage. And so if people are looking at their portfolios and they're contemplating percentage wise, then they're gonna get bothered by the drop. Okay, but at the same time, it's the first bullish candle we've seen. We haven't seen bullish follow through, and so that's what I was saying. I was saying that it would be good to see limit buying rather than market buying. So these green candles are market buying, yeah. And naturally, it's come to a price now where people think this is a good price to buy, so they market buy. Or it could be a false start for some kind of impulse. But look, you see we're getting people sell into that now, and that's basically Bitcoin. And also its lack of value or utility, which is going to be corrected. And so while up till now it's largely been speculative, it's soon going to become a reality in Dtravel. And what's interesting is we're starting to see a lot of activity on Twitter from different people. I've never seen these people in my life, never heard of them. And all of a sudden I'm seeing a lot more social media activity that's kind of what you want to see, because that's how we're going to grow, and that's how people are going to hear about Dtravel, and that's how we're going to build our community and make it bigger. So I mean, I don't really have any advice except just keep to your trading strategy, your investment strategy, and just don't fade out of TRVL really. It's kind of following this price action as it went up, it's following it. And so now you can see over the last multiple years, we were in this kind of bracket here, weren't we? Some kind of consolidation. And they're kind of coming into it. It's all thing for me, it's quite I mean, I wanted to see higher prices, and so yeah, obviously I'm a little bit downbeat on this just because I wanted to be much higher by now. Yeah. And I've been having conversations with people, and obviously I mean, I said to a lot of people we should be at certain prices by a certain period of time, and it looks as though we were heading to that direction, and then obviously we've taken a sharp 90-degree turn. So let's just see what happens. I think Bitcoin obviously hasn't bottomed out. That's really what it's come down to. When you start seeing Bitcoin bottom out, this will bottom out too. Yeah. Unless people put limit orders and just absorb the price. And so that's the challenge. Will people do that? Will people just willy-nilly just chuck limit orders here? Probably not here. Although there is a daily level. So maybe here, look, there is a liquidity level here. And so naturally, this is going to be your first test here, right here. Bearish candle, but all it's doing is filling this gap. It's seeing if someone, basically what happened on this day is that someone or someone's market bought. And now the price is coming back into their initial entry to see whether these people are looking to buy more. Yeah. And so naturally, you wouldn't expect them to go all in. So you'd expect them to have dry powder. So when the price comes back into their entry point, do they market buy again? Or have they now put limit orders so they can have this is like their average area of entry? Yeah. And that's what the price wants to do. It wants to test and see if there's continuation, if there's follow through, or if there's actual demand here, and not just a random one-off low volume purchase. And so we are coming into a little bit of a support here. Let's see if the price holds here. If the price holds here and Bitcoin goes down, then you know that's bullish. If this just bounces here and Bitcoin bounces, then it's just following Bitcoin. And if we do range here, and then for how many days or weeks, whatever, and it's always possible to go down one time to come back up to capture liquidity. If we are gonna form some kind of bottoming pattern, then what you want to see is, honestly, what I really want to see, if possible, is a wick. It's like some kind of wick. And I don't know if we've had that too much in the price action. I think large portion of the time people they wait for the price to close and stop, and then the next period or the next candle, next day, whatever, they buy. But here you can see here, when we had this reaction here, look at those wicks. Look at those wicks. And look at the volume. Okay. And then look at the reaction. See that? And here we had more wicks here. Look at these daily wicks into the same area. And we had another reaction, didn't we? We had two reactions. Okay. There's like tweezer bottoms. Look, tweezer bottoms. That was a lower low. There was a lower low on the second wick. And actually you had a really nice reaction. So if we're going to see that kind of reaction, then that's kind of the price candle patterns that you want to see. You want to see wicks on the daily time frame. You want to see a buy up. And we had a little bit of a wick here as well. See that? And then we had a buy up. And here, even this daily candle, we had a little bit of a couple of wicks here. Look a little bit of buy up. And so naturally what I'm looking for are wicks in the bottom of these prices on the daily time frame here. Every time I see the price move up, we had wicks there, we had a wick right there at the all-time low. Wicks, there's a little bit of wick there, some wicks there. Even here we've got some wicks and buying tails. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm looking for wicks at the lows, at the bottoms. We start seeing that, if we see that, then at the right place, then maybe we can get a reaction to take us higher. But naturally, this is all going to depend on Bitcoin. And I've said this a lot, and so see, I'll say it again, it's not a problem. What I'm looking at is Bitcoin dominance, to see Bitcoin dominance top out here. And I think that's really where we're going to find the bull market, the midpoint, the mid bull market low. Okay, and we're not there yet. We're still quite far away, and it's quite weird because Bitcoin is now dropping and the market Bitcoin dominance is kind of dropping too. So it's a bit weird, the Bitcoin dominance and how it's behaving. It doesn't look good, does it? Look at that weekly time frame. Again, we're getting continued selling. It's not looking good. Monthly time frame, look. Is this reversing just yet? Maybe not just yet. Maybe it's going to really try and capture a bit more liquidity lower down. And really, it's all down about liquidity. So in this context, the best price is somewhere about 33.1 cents, where you've got this kind of monthly divide here between the monthly candles. And for many months, the price kind of struggled to flip this level. And naturally, it's come above it. We haven't really had a back test. So maybe we come down to about 30 cents, 3 cents, 3.1 cents to just back test this area as support. And then if it's confirmed, then maybe then we can go up. Okay, it's kind of what I'm seeing here in the way the price is behaving. But we need the price to bottom out. And so naturally you want to see a bullish, some kind of bullish candle pattern. It's not just enough for the price to come to a certain level. You need to see how the price reacts. And so right now we had a potential for a bullish reaction. And now we just need to see some kind of bullish, like a bullish defense here, you know, like that's what you want to see. You want to see like a double bottom, a triple bottom, head and shoulders, something like that. You want to see a pattern, some kind of bottoming pattern form that gives you the confidence that the price has truly bottomed out. And so one reaction isn't enough unless it's a V shape, and so there's no V shape here, so that's not enough. And so what we're trying to see is what's happening here. Is there some kind of neckline there? And if people are looking to buy here and they're thinking about when is a good time to buy, I've always said that the best time to buy is when you have these outer trend lines broken. I'm just trying to see if there's one here now. So there's two really in play. See, potentially we've already broken one and we're above it, even though we're making lower lows, so it's not strong because we've taken out these lows. It would be nice. Bullishness here would have been to break, to find support and to continue and not take out these lows. You take out these lows, the price just continues dropping, even though it's broken that trend line. So potentially you could have another outer trend line here from the same pivot. Which pivot do you take? That's subjective, isn't it? Probably the outer one, actually. So as you've just put in a pivot there, that's kind of the outer pivot now. So now you've got this kind of outer trend line. you've got this steeper one which we've broken, and then the other big trend line will be probably from the all-time high to that pivot too, some kind of really higher time frame outer trend line, something like that. And so that's what we're looking at in terms of the price, and that's how it's moving. And so eventually you want to break, and then also you want to break. It means break that outer one is a real key break now, from the all-time high through to this last pivot. And if we see a break there, then hopefully that should be it. I mean, we say that every time, but it doesn't work out. The final time we'll get lucky. Look, just to there and see what it looked like. Yeah, you see, as soon as we were able to get through it, the price was able to kind of, dare I say it, fly. And so naturally you want the same behavior here. You want the price to somehow, and see this was front run here. Here it was a little bit front run. What we want to do is we want to see the price in the same fashion get to that outer trend line and get through it. I don't know how long it's going to take. Could it take all the way up till November? Like this? Anything's possible, and so just be aware of that. Anything's possible. But I mean, my thoughts on Bitcoin are, as time continues, as we continue not going to higher prices, I am actually more and more, I'm thinking super cycle. I don't really hear people talk about the super cycle now, just simply because it's looking bearish. Yeah. But in my imagination, I'm thinking gold, ETFs. I'm still on that page. And so while everyone has forgotten about gold ETFs, I mean Bitcoin ETF and how it relates to gold. Gold ETF launched in November 24. Here. And the price of gold initially pumped for 2 weeks here. 2 weeks it pumped. You see that white line? That's when it launched. Then it came underneath the launch for a period of 42 weeks. And the week of the launch, when the price came underneath it, the minute that the price came back above the launch week, the price never looked back. And that whole period of time took 42 weeks. And from the BTC ETF launch, 42 weeks later, that's going to put us in November. And I am actually wondering if we create this kind of price behavior on Bitcoin, just like literally a super cycle, just continuous upward price move. And that is going to happen if and when we create this kind of behavior. At the moment, Bitcoin is in the highs. It'd be like gold still being in the highs. We're like halfway through, and it's kind of like gold is still here. So potentially we could form drop lower. But what I'm expecting potentially is some kind of copy of this sometime in November. Let's I wonder if Bitcoin can just rally. And future bear markets, it won't actually come down. It'll be like a very wide but flat correction in price discovery before the price continues to rally. That's kind of what I'm imagining for Bitcoin, actually. So I am thinking super cycle. I really am. And so here you can see January, when was it? When it launched, it was somewhere here. It was this red candle, wasn't it? Somewhere there. And 42 weeks would put us into there you go, November 44, like the beginning of November. Now on gold, when you launched, the price came underneath it, it went up, came underneath it, and then as soon as it got back up, that's when the super cycle began effectively. So we've had very different price action compared to gold, the gold super cycle. And so naturally here, when Bitcoin launched, the ETFs launch, I think we had a initial dump, and then it pumped. I am wondering if we do come back down to here, honestly, for a test. Even though in my mind then this is what I'm thinking. So I want to see what happens here. Do we do this? And then do we go all the way down here for some kind of test? And then in November, that's when we start pumping. That's kind of what I'm thinking at the moment, but this W doesn't have to play out like this. If you get a reaction here, you could just easily go to the 50% mark and reject. Doesn't have to be, and that's the thing. I don't know if we're going to go to the all-time high if we find support here, because while people will be targeting it, we could quite easily just go up to somewhere 50% and reject. And I am wondering if we come back here to test the ETF launch price, which is somewhere about 44,000. That would be very similar to gold ETF, the way they got in a different way, because in gold ETF it went down. Here Bitcoin is going up. Gold ETF, after it launched, the price went down. Bitcoin's gone up, but do we still go back to test? And I think yes. I think it makes good sense, doesn't it? Why would we not go back to test the ETF launch price of Bitcoin? So that's on my mind at the moment. Really brutal, huh? For a lot of things, coins and stuff. But anyway, it is what it is. All right, so that's kind of on my mind, and that is Bitcoin, gold. Slerf is looking weak. Yeah, just no love. You can't really long it. Look, it's looking weaker than Bitcoin right now. Everything's looking weak, isn't it? There's nothing we look. It's all red. It's all looking weak. Let's look at that Quanix. Yeah. Unfortunately, everything's looking weak. Everything is kind of fallen back into areas, lost areas, reclaimed areas now. And so actually, I think the market is just generally looking much weaker than we thought. Okay. And maybe we just continue going down. All right, guys, good stream. Thanks for joining me. I think a lot of people are unhappy because we're no longer pumping to the moon. We're just kind of correcting. There's still opportunities to trade and to make money. But in this context, it's just about being patient and looking for the right entries and the right exits. So, all right, have a good day, and I'll chat to you guys later. Thank you, Cactus, for joining me.